of our population by 2026. The whole face, the look of New Zealand is changing rapidly, and we're getting older as well. Where is the money going to come for the youngsters, if you like, to buy the farms off the farmers who are retiring? James?
It's a good question, and
from banks.
But the banks aren't lending.
Potentially, but as we say, then we've got to see. So we have probably seen a bit of a change to the east in the power of the money flows, and right now we're seeing a lot of immigration coming from those areas. So potentially those immigrants are going to be able to buy the houses, be able to buy the farms, all those sorts of things. And I guess the key thing is that.
So we're going to see the Waikato and rice paddies.
You never know.
Would like to think that it wouldn't be the case, but I guess when we're talking about this immigration part of our economy, then what we have seen with positive immigration, we've seen positive influences on the housing market, and that's what we have probably seen over the last 5 years, and that's not necessarily where our economy wants to be going. We want to be going to some of those productive sectors, I guess that is the risk with big population inflows. That we could see a bit of a imbalance in the economy.
Up next, we ask our guests where to from here. But first, answer this. Pick a number in dollars of foreign-owned assets in New Zealand. That's New Zealand dollars. That answer right after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back. We asked you the dollar value of foreign-owned assets in New Zealand. The answer, $293 billion. Well, Bruce, Fonterra Shareholder Council has a new chairman, Simon Cooper. What kind of challenges is he going to be facing?
The same as the previous Shareholder Council. There have been interesting dynamics between the board and the council in terms of who's responsible for what. I imagine that will endure despite leadership changes. That said, I like the model of a shareholder council. I think it's a neat model and should be applied in other environments. The issue is working out how the dynamics between the board and a council works. Boards are about mentoring management. What is the role of shareholders and what is the role of a council of shareholders? It's not the role of the board. And the problem I think they've had in the past is they have seen themselves as a shadow board, and that's not quite the role that I think they should be crafted in.
Is this something, James, that the meat industry should be looking at? I mean, they seem to be on their knees. They can't get it together. Should they be looking at a Fonterra-like group, if you like, to save the day?
Well, I mean, there's no question that there's overcapacity in the meat industry. That's potentially not something that Fonterra has to worry about because they control all those processing plants. A similar model would help out in some of those areas. The difficulty with the meat industry is that it is so fragmented. We've got co-ops, we've got private companies, we've got listed companies, and I think a roll up into a similar type of co-op like Fonterra is going to be very, very difficult.
But what's the alternative?
There is, I think there's potentially could be a buying party in there somewhere. So there's, I guess the key thing for our external markets is that there is some mixed messages about what our meat products are doing, and it would be nice to see the meat companies working together. And in some cases they might be, but in general probably not. It would be nice to see them working together in some of these joint markets to do the best thing for New Zealand and for New Zealand meat.
And yet it's interesting, Bruce, to see Turners and Growers and Zespri duking it out in the High Court right now over this monopoly situation. Is Turners and Growers absolutely crazy?
No, they're not absolutely crazy. Tony Gibbs is not an idiot. In essence, Zespri operates a bit like Fonterra, and Turners and Growers wish to enter the market. Zespri controls a number of kiwi fruit brands and varieties, and Turners and Growers are developing and control differing varieties and are being frustrated from exporting them. there's fault on both sides, and there are advantages to a one exporter approach. And Zespri has been a success. However, how successful have they been when the proprietary varieties that they developed, the silly sods, exported and allowed bigger producers to emerge over the last 20 years than New Zealand for a fruit called kiwi fruit? So they've done some dopey things. I don't have a particular view on how this should play out.
Okay, let's go to BP situation just before we wrap. We hear now that the old boss, Tony Hayward, is on his way out, but he's taken a $25 million golden handshake. Is that fair?
It's not a handshake, it's a parachute.
It is a parachute. It's a Learjet.
Oh, it's a parachute from a Learjet.
What do you make of that?
BP, I think, announced their
40
results.
billion for a quarter, or is that a half
Yeah,
year?
I think they've, sort of written off about, made provisions for about $30 billion US for the last quarter from the spill. So there's all these things in the media. It's the fact that they're going to have to pay out their CEO is not going to go down very well also, and it's I guess this is not going to end just yet.
All right, well, we'll keep a watching brief, gentlemen. Thanks so much for your time. Around the World in 30 Minutes, thanks to my guests, ASB's rural economist James Shortall and Bruce Sheppard, chairman for one more day of the New Zealand Shareholders Association. We'd love to hear your feedback, so why not go to our website and drop us a line? Remember to check out my weekly blog. We'll give the last word to a couple of judges at the Bombay High Court in India, who ruled that Hindu gods can't deal in stocks and shares. Apparently, a religious trust tried to open accounts in the names of 5 deities. The judges said gods are meant to be worshipped in temples, not dragged into commercial activities like share trading. Besides, they said, it'd be too tough to take action against them in the event of irregularities. Keep the faith. See you next week. Thank you, gentlemen. That was great.